Nature is conscious, intelligent, and all pervasive. Some people are daring enough to penetrate into the depths of the sacred mystery of the universe. They can see the awesome mystery of the integrated ecological self. The mystery of nature is open to all but seen by almost none. The animated divine rhythm of nature is perceptible through the ecological systems. If we are not aware of that eternal truth of spiritual dimension, we are leading a futile life. The search for material benefits leads man only to a mirage, spoiling the vision of divinity. Thus, the direct vision of divinity in front of us as ecological self is destroyed. The ecological self adjusts itself against human disturbance on nature. This adjustment appears as disaster like hurricane, global warming, climate change, ozone layer rupture, etc. Man do a karma and forgets the consequence, but the nature always remembers. Just as every action has an equal and opposite reaction in the scientific realm, the spiritual domain does maintain it as the law of retribution for each karma. As you sow, so you reap. In that karmic law, we can find the key to solving the problems of life. It is by embarking on the true path of inward journey in ecological awareness. The fear consequent on disturbed life system is reflected as search for unified theory of existence and meaning of life. Instead of seeking the real cause of fear, the disillusioned mind submit to selfish worship of personal deity. When all inquiries in the field of science, metaphysics and religion fails, something else surfaces as a solution. When we watch closely, we see that this solution is from the flux of nature of which we are a part. If a man loves wealth alone, he cannot love humanity. Then the soul of man disconnects itself from the ecological self. If the rhythm of nature is disturbed too much, the cyclic changes of seasons may continue, but there may not be the birds to sing and the plants to flower. The soil may hesitate to regenerate life. The seeds and roots may remain dormant forever. In calamities, birth and death happens only as a renewal of consciousness. All such natural processes are complementary for universal consciousness. When human mind with his secondary consciousness interferes with that process, the natural rhythm is affected. The cyclic harmony of nature is damaged by the linear patterns of material gains. Such cycles of food chains and energy chains are but vibrant manifestations of the ecological self. Material progress tantamount to spiritual decline. The material progress is horizontal, adding one by one, increasing mental disturbance. The spiritual progress is vertical with its innate quality of everlasting peace and joy. Selfishness, greed, jealousy, hatred, and anger are brought about by fear of insecurity. Each living being is connected to an ecosystem. The web of ecosystem has a consciousness of its own. The integrating thread is the consciousness of nature or the ecological self. Sterile land dumped with garbages never refreshes the mind as a lively flower-strewn landscape does. The waste materials from a factory as the byproduct of an ambitious mind never become part of interconnected pattern of life in nature. The flux of ecological self is experienced as will, wisdom, and love. It is refracted in human mind as desire, intellect, and lust, as manifested through a conditioned personality. The ecological self is a medium to express the invisible universal law known as dharma. This universal order appears to many as inconvenient because it does not satisfy their self-interest. The three aspects of dharma, will, wisdom, and love, is manifested through nature as self-organizing, self-referring, and self-regulating phenomenon. It is reflected through Atman, the disembodied mind. But when it reaches the brain part of the embodied mind, it is distorted as desire, intellect, and lust. Each living being is a self-organizing system. Each such unit has a conscious center of its own organizing the flow of energy, the Chaitanya or the prana in it. Each living being is self-referring system also. All living being has primordial autonomous intelligence, the expression of Om, the Pranava or the word. The intelligence, which is opposite of human intellect, refers and recognizes, known as awareness. This process is not only between cells of living mechanisms, but between the units of the whole cosmos, known as quantum mechanics in the modern nuclear paradigm. Each living being maintains a stream of love also. Love is the unifying factor of existence. All living beings other than human being maintain this factor. Connections of different types in nature overlap and club together, dancing in love for each other. Human greed acts as virus on the body of the earth, disturbing the balancing force of unity. In the spiritual relationship of oneness, it cannot be divided as mine or yours. In this stage, hurting others is hurting oneself, and another's joy becomes own joy. Man's spiritual development is from separation to unity. Sorrow and evil are the byproducts of the sense of separation. Sin, suffering, and sorrow are not in the world, but only in human mind. All the embodied minds are the same on being purified and brought under the subjectivity of ecological self. It is found that virus and bacteria also have a role in maintaining the rhythm of nature. The fact is that the role of man in the future of earth is less important than the role of the decomposing bacteria. We are fouling the environmental nest we are living in. If the environmental nest we live in is kept clean, we can live with the environmental rhythm. Consequent on survival threat caused by ecological disturbance, there is a possibility of union in humanity. The human attitude towards institutionalized religion is undergoing a gradual change for the better. Sooner or later, there is the possibility of the emergence of a unified nature religion. A survival unification is apparent on the horizon.
Hello, I am N.Bhaskaran Nair, proprietor of the Ecological Park at Eruthavoor. We are conducting eco-spiritual discourses on Sundays. All are welcome. Thank you.